happy to be here speaking with Jim Fouratt, who I've known for a long time, and Jim and I have two important things in common. We were both in Gay Liberation Front, and we're both still alive. I am a lesbian. Now that, well, I hear some yeas. Yeah. When I first said this out loud to an audience in Binghamton, New York, at the university in January 1971, there was a standing ovation. I mean, things were different. They realized, at that time, remember, we still were criminals in the face of the law, we were still sinners in the church, and we were still perverts by the American Psychiatric Association. So things hadn't changed yet. Things were changing gradually. That's why I say, actually, in a few years, I'm going to concentrate my little stories in a few years from like 69 to 74. Because so many things happened then, and I was lucky to be there at the right time, the right place, with the right rage, and just be part of it. It was a very exciting time. Sometimes I miss it, actually. All that fighting out in the streets and everything. But I want to go back, first of all, just a few months before that, in 1970, and historic events that I was involved in. This one involved Kate Millett, that you may or may not know. She was a dear friend of mine, and she wrote Sexual Politics, which took on the misogynists of the world, and she was applauded for that, and on the cover of Time magazine, and she was considered a leader, an intellectual leader. I see some people nodding, of the women's movement. And it was very exciting now. Then, that was in August when that came out in Time magazine. Later on, she was speaking, and a woman named Anna Sanchez stood up in the audience at Columbia and said, "Wait a minute, you're married, and you're saying you're a lesbian. What are you? What's going on here?" And pushed her, and really harassed her. And she admitted she was bisexual. Bisexual. This was put in the second look in December of that year in Time magazine, and they said now that she's come out as bisexual, she would no longer be considered a leader in the women's movement, like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so I was outraged at this, and so were some of the other more radical feminists, and that she was being discredited because we said this wasn't going to happen. She's still respected by all of us as an intellect and one of our leaders. So we had an event at a church, we spoke out, and I was one of the 3 organizers of this event to support Kate. And I said in there, I said, "And I'm a lesbian." Well, actually I wasn't brave, I wasn't, but the news knew that this was news. People hadn't been saying this publicly. They hadn't been telling their friends, their colleagues, and so. And when I saw the network news, NBC network news that night, it was a close-up of me. I am a lesbian. I thought, I'm out. And this is it. You know, this changes my life. I figured everybody watched. Of course, they hadn't, but you know, it was the beginning of my being out. And then I got a call from David Susskind saying, "Would you be on a show?" I said, "Yes." They said, "Well, we can't find anybody else to go on with you. When we do, we'll let you know." About 3 months later, they got together a panel. And it's available on YouTube in 1971. I'm the bleach blonde on the far right. But anyway, one of the women lost her job. She was working with the Girl Scouts. She lost her job after being on TV. Another woman.
Robinson.
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes, exactly. Robinson, yes. Do you know her?
Robertson.
Robertson, yes. And Dinah, right? And then another woman who worked for a bank who had a pseudonym. She was on TV in a pseudonym, with a pseudonym, but she lost her job too. So, you know, these were still very perilous times, for sure. But just being a bisexual would cause all of this outpouring. And also conflict. There were a lot of conflicts. There was a bumpy road. It didn't happen easily. At this time, I was writing with my partner, Sidney Abbott, wonderful woman, no longer with us. Sappho was a right-on woman, in secret, because we were, the only game in town for lesbians was Radical Lesbians, and it was more radical than we were. As I say, I also had one foot in the revolution and one foot in the establishment, so that was also hard. But the only thing you could write for if you were a member of Radical Lesbians was rat, or out. But they were underground publications, and Sidney and I thought, we're not going to change the world with just rat. We have to get out and have people listen to our stories. So we were writing this in secret. So no wonder it was the first positive book that came out about lesbian lifestyle in early 1971.